Hi there. Welcome to the Dean Blundell Show. My name is Dean, and it is pretty close to the end of the week. Nice to be here with everybody. Lots going on. Busy day today. James D. Fiore joins us from blackballmedia.ca. Chris Rook, head of production, deanblundell.ca. And Lachlan Cross, king of the bowel movement, cock talk, and morning guy at 95.7 Cruise FM. Hi, fellas. How are we? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Da 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 da. Does James look a little extra scary today?
Yes.
Okay, I was just checking.
No, it's because I'm facing down. This is like if you were giving me a blowjob, this is what you'd see.
Oh, good.
That's a great image. Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Next time, look up.
We're live. We're live.
I know. I said it.
Rook, we can't hear you, buddy. You got to turn your audio on. For some reason, we can't hear you. It's a crying shame.
He was still in tooting mode.
I'm not too sure. Can we hear you now? Yeah, because we were dicking around before we started, and he farted and didn't admit it. Didn't admit it at all.
Look, he can't even talk. He's just like,
We can't hear you again. We still can't hear you. Everybody else is in on it, not you.
Is that a fridge behind you, Chris?
No, it's a dry erase board.
Oh, is
the
it?
hard work he does. Yeah.
I was going to say, that's a fridge. Go grab a beer.
Yeah. Log out, log back in. Give that a go, maybe. See how that goes, Chris. There we go, bud. There, we'll get
good
him back.
start, fellas.
Yeah,
Good
not
start.
bad. He's got a new computer. He's our head of production. I love him, and he's fucking super funny. And he literally just got married in the pandemic.
Really? How do you do that?
Had to put it off about 14 times.
Okay.
And then every single place that they would rent would put it off. So he and his wife literally just said, let's go to the church. Let's go throw our lives away together in front of nobody. And then they just live streamed the thing. And I watched it. It was the first wedding that I watched online in my entire life. And it was actually surprisingly not bad. I think because I wasn't there. I wasn't like committed to being in the audience. You know what I mean? I didn't have a check for $250. I didn't have to get dressed up. But I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is a pretty decent wedding. Not bad. It was like an hour long. He got married. They're happy. No honeymoon. No nothing. No party.
Don't you think that marriages that start during the pandemic are probably just doomed for failure, though? Really? Before he gets back,
generally speaking.
Yeah,
I think generally speaking. No, but she's cool. Like I actually went to Spain with both of them for a Poker Stars thing we did a couple years ago, and for work. And she was like awesome. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be married to her forever. You can tell, right? When you meet those people, you're like, yeah, you guys are gonna be married forever. Like when I saw Deb standing over your shoulder, Lock, I'm like, yeah, those guys are gonna be married forever. When I listened to James D. Fiore talk about his wife, I'm like, that's not going to last. But there are some people out there. No, there are some people out there.
No, you're right, Dean. It's never
yeah, thanks, bud. I appreciate it. But there are some people out there you can just tell, and he's one of those guys. And so you
can smell it on people. You can.
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah. People that want to be in a relationship, like people that want to be with somebody, always having someone there. I was talking to my son this morning about it. We were sitting down because he's like, Dad, he's 15 and likes girls like him. He's like, Dad, is it weird to hold hands? I go, with who? And he's like, girls. Like when you date girls, it's weird to hold hands. And I said, yeah, it's 100% weird. And he's like, I thought it was weird because I know this girl and she wants to get together and just hold hands. I'm like, why would we hold hands? I don't want to be around. And I'm like, oh my God, he caught my disease. Because I've been that way my entire life, where having someone around me, talking to me, in my face, cuddling me, next to me in bed, taking up that space, asking me questions, hanging on me about movies, wanting to hold my hand when we go places. I'm like, this is it's like a leash. To me, relationships are like a leash. And
yours didn't go well, right?
No. But in general.
How can you tell, Luck?
How's that?
Hey,
there you go.
Yeah. Congratulations.
There you go.
We're just talking about how you got married.
That's embarrassing that I'm the head of production and I couldn't figure out my mic.
It totally is
come up.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
I'll take off now.
We were talking about how you got married during the pandemic, and it was like every week he would call me and go, "Got put off again. Got put off again. Got put off again." But I didn't have
a fucking hint, eh?
Yeah.
The universe was trying to tell me something, and I just wasn't getting it.
But she's nice, right? Like she is one of those women that, like, when I saw both of you guys together, and I was telling these guys, I'm like, they're gonna last forever because they're just cool. They're both super cool with anything. They're not trying to change each other. They're just happy to be around each other. All the shit that comes with a good relationship. Then that started me down the path of how much I fucking hate having a relationship and having someone around. Like, I hate it, and I wonder if there's something wrong with me.
No,
absolutely.
You're like Bill Maher, except Bill Maher never got married, right? Like he believes that people, it's unnatural for people to stay with one person for the rest of their life. Like monogamy doesn't make sense for human beings and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until God got introduced to the equation that human beings started to cohabitate and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you don't get lonely, then sure, it's great. If you get
but what
lonely.
does it say about me?
It could be relationship PTSD.
Yeah, it could just be old-fashioned datedness, right?
Chris, I think he has got some relationship PTSD for sure.
Because, like, were the last two fun for you?
Not particularly.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but it's more than that. Like, it's to the point where I'll go see my therapist or talk to my therapist once or twice a month, and now that's all I talk about is, why am I so averse to the idea of having someone around me all the fucking time?
Have you tried hitting on your therapist?
No, he would hate that.
But would you hate that?
I wouldn't think of it, James. Unfortunately, I mean, it's good that you do, right?
So
keep your open mind.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In your last relationships, were you the giver or the taker? Not in a sexual way. I'm talking about overall. Were you the one that gave up more? Did you make more sacrifices in the relationship than the other person?
I don't remember.
My wife has her hand up.
You're performance podcasting for her in the room, aren't you? You're just repeating shit that other people have told you to say when you're in trouble.
She's holding up
Let me
flashcards.
ask you something. Have you pleasured her twice in one day yet, like you should be doing and all men should do?
Do you do the dishes every day? And can she see you do the dishes? Yes.
It's the cue cards off screen that he's reading, like Saturday Night Live.
But it makes for an interesting conversation, because I think if you feel like you gave up too much in the last one or the one before that, maybe that's why you're so adverse to the idea of doing it again.
No, it's got nothing to do with it. I literally, it doesn't matter who it is. I don't want anyone in my space. I don't want anybody moving the strainer. I don't want anybody using my cup. I don't want anybody sitting where I sit on the couch.
James,
I don't want.
What is that? There's a name for that, isn't there?
Asshole, is it?
Jaded. You're just jaded, man. This is just a long way of saying jaded. That's all it is.
No, but you listen, it's weird because my kids, my family, my friends, yeah, it's fine, right? Like, do whatever. Come over, have a good time. Let's enjoy ourselves. I mean the presence of someone who's expecting something from you all the time. I can't do that. I can't do that ever again. I'm like in that void right now where it's like, a friend of mine's like, hey, dude, why don't you go online dating? I'm like, you fucking bananas. Online dating? I'm gonna put my face on a fuck. Yeah. You know how fast that'll appear on my Twitter feed?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dean, looking for love online, right? Someone told me that there was a picture of me and my son on an online dating thing. And I'm like, that's fucking impossible. I haven't even looked it up. But there's no way.
If you were to online date, what online resource would you use?
Let's write his profile. Oh,
Pornhub,
Mingle, Christian Mingle,
Grinder,
Christian Mingle. Yeah, I do Christian Mingle just to upset the Christians. That's what I would do. I would swipe left and it's like, girl, like I love Jesus. I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to destroy her entire image of what an imaginary individual's life was like.
James,
that's the only reason why I would do it.
Jumped on Tinder a couple years ago, and James is the little guy on the show. And
what the fuck are you calling me little for?
Not you, the other James.
You are little, but Jimmy. Not as little as his James.
I'll call him Jimmy. So Jimmy signs up for Tinder,
Yeah.
And he gets one bite in a week, and we're all freaking out, right? What's her name? And we're trying to help him on the show, help him like
Is she a little person too?
No, just a normal person. And she took a shine to Jimmy on Tinder. And then she I think she might have heard us talking about it on the show. Boom, bails, right?
Block.
Yeah, we totally cock blocked Jimmy on his Tinder. So he's all pissed about it. About a day, 2 days later, Grant gets a hold of his phone and changes the settings in Tinder and accepts men. His phone was going nuts.
A good one.
Ding, 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 ding. He had about 6 hits in about 30 minutes.
And how did he do?
He got so mad he hasn't been on another one.
Oh, he didn't follow up with any of those swipes.
No. And I'm like, dude, you honestly need to switch teams here, because this is clearly working out better on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, he just doesn't have a proclivity. This is Jimmy right here. That's him.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
him.
there's Jimmy dressed up as Santa when he should be an elf. See?
Could be the happiest fella in the whole world. Like, you never see him unhappy, ever.
No, it's just drunk all the time.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right, lots to get to today. Where do you want to start? Tiger Woods? You guys want to start with some Tiger Woods? He is out of surgery. It is now 2 days since his accident. It was crazy because it happened right when we were on the air.
Positive Mike wants me to get his T-shirt in the shot.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about
Is
him
he out
in
of
just a
surgery
second.
though, Dean? Maybe you shouldn't speculate.
Well, we'll get to that too. But so Tiger Woods is out of surgery. Now, if we're going to go and do just a couple little updates as part of the story, Tiger's traveling down a highway in Southern Cal at a high rate of speed. This is what we know now. And I'm not reading it. It's point form. High rate of speed. He then crosses from the merge onto the highway lane because he was merging off the highway. And then he takes his car and it slowly goes over the second lane into the shoulder, across the median, across 2 lanes of traffic, hits a curb and rolls 7 to 10 times, they said, about 400 feet. Do you know how fucking far that is?
Yes.
400 feet, probably.
It's 400 feet, Chris.
It sounds like you fell asleep.
So, since the accident, it's been announced he had 2 compound fractures, one in his fibula, which has been replaced and fixed with rods, screws, and plates. Also a shattered ankle, everything on his right leg. Everything. And he had surgery to repair that as well. They've also left some open wounds on his leg because it was so swollen from the accident. It made they were worried the skin would get compartment syndrome. So they've actually opened up his leg, so it's like, just sitting there. Now,
Jesus.
Good news is Tiger's he's gonna live. Questions about his career, pretty natural questions asked. Bad news, Dr. Oz says he's gonna be fine. So I fucking highly doubt it.
Yes.
Doesn't Dr. Oz recommend meth for weight loss? Like, isn't that?
Yes, he does. Yeah,
one of his
he
things?
thinks tequila's medicine. I don't know if I'm going to go with Dr. Oz when it comes to Tiger's prognosis. So now that we know, he said, and today Tiger's like, "Hey, listen, I don't want to end my career like this." So all that, great, good. I'm glad he's good. I'm really happy he's safe. I love the guy. I love the way he plays golf. I've watched him my entire life. I watched him win his first Masters. It was life changing. As someone that loves the game of golf. But we're asking questions, right? And we asked the question in a podcast, which made it to a promo. And the question was, are we allowed to speculate? And what happened over the next little while was hate mail, tweet, fuck you. And the great part was Lachlan, who doesn't work with us, doesn't really work with us, was the only guy that came in to fight the battle of, yes, we're allowed to speculate.
This didn't make any sense to me. How can you say that you can't speculate when the entire planet is going to speculate? It's Tiger Woods. Like, look at what his history is. We're going to have a conversation about the fact that, was he on pills? Was he running away from a Waffle House waitress? Right? Like, there's these conversations are going to happen when it comes to Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't get, you can't speculate. Yeah, yes, you can. And everybody is. And whether or not he's ever going to make it into another, major again. The doctor yesterday said it's very unlikely he'll ever play professional golf again.
Yeah.
So
I think it's kind of like, we're always feeling sympathy for people who are famous. Those are the only choices that we have, because as a collective, we only recognize certain people. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's such a stupid question. Can you speculate? He's a world famous person. Of course you can speculate. The internet is a place where we all go to act like kids on the schoolyard again, for better or worse. And it's okay because he's a celebrity, because now we're punching up, right? We're not asking if some housewife that nobody knows was high or drunk when she got in a car accident, because that would be shitty. But it's a famous person, so while kind of shitty because it's the same thing, it doesn't matter because you're punching up. I mean, he's got a blessed life. He's had a wonderful career. He's made a ton of money. He's had sex with lots of attractive porn stars and lots of ugly ones too, probably.
Yeah. Don't forget those ones.
Yeah. So it's hard to feel sorry for someone that has so much. Like,
does anybody feel sorry for him? I mean, I think that's the narrative you have.
I think they go through the motions of feeling sorry for him, but if you don't know him, you're feeling sorry for the fact that you can't virtue signal hard enough to make it look like you're feeling sorry for him. Like, that's, no one actually is out there that doesn't know Tiger Woods and is sitting there feeling sorry for him. If they do, they have problems, right? Like, you don't want to.
Did you notice a lot of that, James? Did you notice the virtue signaling? Because it was, I find it two things. I love speculating. Speculating's the best. Not in a mean way, but saying, hey, listen, let's ask ourselves a couple questions here before we all decide that woe's Tiger. Like, let's look at this through a bit of a critical lens. When it comes to Tiger, single vehicle accidents seem to be what he does. Going back to him getting his face caved in by his wife in the Escalade, and then in 2017 getting found on the road, or was it 2017, 2018? I think it's 2017. Found on the road, single car, Mercedes, middle of the road, blasted, had no idea where he was. Lucky to be alive. Thank God he got some help, and he's good, and I'm happy, and he's a great story. But then we have this, right? And because we didn't know his status, like we didn't know what kind of health he was in, there was this big like wait and see moment for everybody. There was this like, we can't say anything. We just know that he's in a bad car accident. And if it's anybody else, stories are flying about everything. I mean, people are suggesting a million different things, not Tiger Woods. And all I did was post a picture of Tiger Woods from a video I saw this weekend. And that started people freaking out. Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about.
I saw that picture and I thought exactly what you thought. I mean, there's clearly something going on there, right? Because his eyes were glassed. Did you see it, James?
I did. I didn't see I would have rather seen the interview because
I got it.
It's really easy to like take a screen grab. I have one of Michelle Rempel where she's like behind Stephen Harper, like in the House of Commons.
Waiting to eat that
I'll send it to you. It's wonderful. In fact, it came in my Facebook memories today, so it was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, it was great. But it's difficult to tell with screen grab. I believe you though. Why I trust your judgment when you say that you thought he was kind of lit. Like, did you think he was stoned or on like opiates or something? Or
something was off.
He just appeared to be buttered. You know what I mean by that? Like he just appeared to kind of not really be right. I've got the video. I'll play it for you. Big article in the New York Post yesterday. I know it's the New York Post. You don't want to laugh about the New York Post, but big article saying, "Hey, listen, this concerned a lot of people, as it did me prior to the accident. And this is what I thought about the second that it happened because it made its way into the podcast, right? But here's the actual video, him with Jim Nantz that people are talking about, which has led to the speculation.
Everybody wants to know how you're feeling, what you're doing since you've come off your fifth back operation. You feeling all right?
I'm feeling fine. I'm a little bit stiff. I have one more MRI scheduled so that we'll see if the annulus has scarred over finally, and then I can start doing more activities. But still in the gym, still doing the mundane stuff that you have to do for rehab, the little things, and before I can start gravitating towards something a little bit more.
So as far as golf, what have you done since the surgery? Anything?
I have lengthened my putter.
Okay, right. Starts with that.
Starts with that. I don't have to bend over as far. I've gone to the same length as my sand wedge. So because I do a lot of putting drills, blading, hitting the equator with my sandwich, and I figured, well, if I do a lot with that, why don't I just lengthen my putter to the same length? So I did, and it helped.
So Tiger, 7 weeks from today, final round of the Masters. You going to be there?
Gotta hope so. I got to get there first.
You feel like
a lot of it is based on my surgeons and my doctors and my therapists, and making sure that I do it correctly. And this is the only back I got, so I don't have much more wiggle room left there.
But the plan would be maybe to get one tournament in before that, I guess.
I don't know what the plan is. Plan is right now is just to go ahead and get the MRI and see if the annulus is sealed, if it's scarred over, and then we can start progressing.
There you go.
You know what? If I heard that on the radio, I wouldn't think anything.
Yeah.
There's a look.
And even the look, it was like his eyes were a little glossy. That's it for me. I don't think that he looks really all that suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
There were tweets that day that happened
Mm-hmm.
that were speculating.
Yeah, I'm sure there were.
Puffy. Like his face looks puffy.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed more than anything else.
Well, he looked bigger around the shoulders too. Like he didn't look slender or anything like that. So maybe he's just getting older and getting, filling out a little bit more. Like
he's filling out at 45. Right? He's filling out at 45.
I didn't fill out until like 42, and then I got really fat, and then I lost a bunch of weight. And if you interviewed me, you'd be like, "That guy's high." I know.
So what are the rules when it comes to an accident like this? Do we not speculate at all anymore? Because that seems to be the issue. The issue no, I know that you can speculate, you can talk about it, but speculating as to what happened. Which, by the way, we're going to find out because this rig that he was in has a black box. I didn't know that cars had black boxes. Now apparently they have black boxes. So they're going to find out. Like, they still don't know what happened. It is not being investigated as a crime. He is not under charge. He's not being charged. He hasn't been charged. They're not suspicious of him being under the influence. But there's something weird here, right? Take the interview out of it.
Phone.
Yeah.
Looked at his phone.
Was he texting? Yeah. Was he looking at his phone? Was he doing one of these going that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a long way. Like he merged and then he kept going into the second lane. Then he went to the Jesus Christ, the shoulder, and then flipped over the medium. Like that's a long text. Like that's like you're scrolling and you're stoned.
That car too apparently has a lot of safety features, and they were saying that that if he was in just a standard vehicle, standard SUV, he probably
a Sonata
would be dead right now. Yeah,
if he was in a Sonata, he wouldn't be here. Ooh, thank God we didn't give him the Santa Fe.
They
had like 10 airbags. They had 10 airbags in that thing. The funny part was, like, I was looking at the video. There's blood all over the airbags, and if you look in the car, he's very healthy. The only thing he had, and there was no booze in there. There's just like this bag of mango slices. That's it.
Maybe
That's
it was,
maybe it was eating mango slices.
Maybe we take him at his word. Just have
every once in a while when I'm driving along, and if I drop my beer, I don't want it to spill all over the car. That's kidding.
How people. No, maybe you're right. Maybe he dropped a mango slice down because when you drop it like down between your seat or something, how much of a pain in the ass to get shit out of your seat it is.
So you do it right away, so you don't forget.
Can you imagine if that's what happened to Tiger Woods? If he crashed that car, possibly ending his career reaching for a mango slice, I'd be actually happy because my biggest concern was that he relapsed. Right, like think about where he was. Tiger Woods, a month and a half ago, had surgery again for the 5th time on his back. I think it's his 10th surgery in 12 years, 5th surgery on his back. And he's at home. He's not doing shit. He's got a problem with painkillers, which we all know about. And as a matter of fact, I believe he told Lomita Highway Patrol that he's going to need some help with pain management because he can't take regular meds, like because he's got a problem. So,
I just thought of something really funny.
It all sort of checks out, as of now until we find out what's going on. So I'm not going to speculate because most of the evidence is saying that Tiger Woods legitimately spaced out for 700 feet. So
we should just cancel mangoes.
it's what's funny, what's funny to me is that first of all, what's interesting is that no one ever brings up race with Tiger Woods. He's sort of unique like that. Like if there, every time something like this happens, I'm surprised a lot of people didn't say to you, your white privilege is showing because you're trying to tear down a black person and speculate like this with his drug use and stuff like that. But that never happens to Tiger Woods, which is interesting. He plays the whitest sport in the world, and even his drug addiction is the whitest drug addiction.
That's true.
He's just a flyover state resident now, man. He's just like popping them Oxycontins, and heading down to pick up some fucking roadkill for supper. Like, it just seems to me. And then he ended up almost being the roadkill. That's fucking.
Yeah. Well, dude, listen. Thank God he's okay, right? Like, that's the truth. I love
saying. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's all that really matters now. I mean, these are peripheral conversations, but I'm just happy he's all right.
We were talking about it this morning, and I was saying, hey, listen, everybody has an opinion about Tiger Woods, and you can like him or dislike him. But at the end of the day, if somebody sends me a text on Friday or Saturday and says the Tiger's on a run, there's my plans for the weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sitting down and I'm watching the Masters, and I'm watching him take another shot at a major. So he draws people to the. And again, I was critical of him when I heard all the stuff that came out about him. But again, I was still excited about the fact that he was 2 under and 4 ahead, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I hope he's okay. The jury's out. We'll find out. But can you imagine the comeback? Can you imagine, like, after the comeback and then another comeback like this, where majority of doctors are going, listen, if you understand human anatomy, it's probably not going to happen. It'd be fucking huge. And I don't doubt that he can. Listen, I'm not being positive Pete here either. I'm being pretty realistic when I don't understand human anatomy like an orthopedic surgeon would. But, when you've got both bones from your lower right leg, which is your weight transfer leg in golf, and they're sticking out of your skin, and you've shattered that same ankle. I don't see it. I mean, I can't. But having said that, I mean, he's come back from 5 back surgeries, and won the Masters, or 4 back surgeries and won the Masters. So we'll see. I'm just, like I said, glad he's all right.
Interview with Jim Nance, he doesn't know how much back he has left.
Yeah,
right. He misspoke. Everything else he said in that interview was fine.
Yeah.
I've been golfing with a limp for years. He'll be fine.
Play through it.
Speaking of limp, I'd like to introduce you to the limp dick conservative leader that we have in this country. His name's Erin O'Toole. We've talked about him from time to time. He put out this video. Last I looked, it had like 1.5 million. We retweeted it yesterday with like what the fuck is this guy doing? But I'll get to the tweet. This is the video. Erin O'Toole is the leader of the Conservative Party. This is a guy that wants to be the prime minister of this country. This guy is, and he's hated by his own party, and he's hated by everybody else. So he thought it'd be a really good idea to do a funny down in Ottawa. So I'm going to play you the video of Erin O'Toole, which has lit everybody up. Like, if it's impossible to hate the guy anymore, I'd like to see it. Here it is.
Prime Minister's office, or at least Justin Trudeau's office. If you get behind my campaign and we win, we're going to move Justin Trudeau out of this office into a more appropriate office for Justin Trudeau. We've got something lined up already for him. Just happens to be here in advance.
Two things before we get started. I want everybody's thoughts on that, and we'll start with James. One, I couldn't fucking hear it at all. Like, I made out a few words. That was it. Two, that was the most wienerific thing I have ever seen anybody in politics do. Not in bad taste. I didn't find that to be a bullying thing. A lot of people thought that was bullying. That was the act of a child. That's all I see in there. Anyway, James, your thoughts. Erin O'Toole.
Well, it is childish to juxtaposition or whatever the prime minister's office with a toilet, portable toilet. That's pretty lame. It's probably important also to point out context. So this video is from June 2020, and it was when he was in the leadership race It doesn't excuse it. And in fact, it's actually a perfect example of how disingenuous politicians are, where they portray themselves one way to their base, right? This was for a closed conservative delegate audience, right? And then when they go out to the rest and communicate to the rest of us, they're not that person anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So which person are they? I say this so much, especially on your show, that conservatives always do this, but they need to like make money, and so they say really ridiculous things like that, so that the insane batshit part of their base will then donate money. And then when it comes to a general election, they completely abandon their batshit base and they try to appear as if they're more moderate. Sometimes they are more moderate, but it's a flawed strategy, I think. And I think this kind of thing is just another punctuation on the fact that the conservatives have been leaderless for a very long time. Since Stephen Harper left, they haven't had a competent leader.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Locke, you're from Alberta. Did people love this out there?
No.
Or are you guys sick of the shit too?
No. I mean, I'm on a show called The Locker Room. I'm a 50-year-old, highly uneducated individual, and I do a show with an alcoholic millennial and an alcoholic midget. Yeah. And we all thought it was stupid. Right? It wasn't funny.
Don't they prefer dwarf?
Yeah. He allows me to call him midget, though, because we're like brothers. But the thing is,
the alcoholic is just an urn.
At some point, somebody needs to see that and go, "Hey, this isn't funny." Maybe hit delete on that cut, right? Because if anybody sees this, they're going to think you're an idiot.
I wonder who leaked it though, because it was from 9 months ago. So obviously it was either someone in the party that doesn't like him, or it was the Liberals.
If I was Justin Trudeau and I saw that video and it goes viral, I'm like, let's call an election right now, because I'm going to win another 4 years.
Yeah,
because that kind of shit's the reason why everybody's going to vote for the guy with nice hair. He's such a moron. We're going to get stuck with this idiot wet noodle leader that we have right now, because we can't put anybody in the conservative side of things that isn't a complete moron.
Just vote for the guy with the nicest.
Not going to win. He's never going to be the PM.
Just vote for the guy with the nicest turban instead.
So there's only one candidate.
I'm gonna go NDP. I'm voting. I don't even believe in any of the shit that they stand for. I'm just voting NDP because they're the only party that hasn't had a chance to fuck everything up yet.
That's true.
And it's a revolving door between conservatives and liberals, and it just goes like this. They get elected, they run it for a bunch of years, they get embroiled in scandal, and then the liberals come in, and then the liberals run it, and then they get embroiled in scandals, and then the conservatives come in. And it's like that, and it's been like that since like the 50s. And the NDP have never governed. And I'd rather vote for them. I don't care about ideology. I don't care about what they stand for. I'm just so tired of the liberals and conservatives just revolving, the revolving door between opposition and leadership. So,
somebody said something really smart to me a couple years ago, and it's kind of stuck with me. We don't vote people in, we vote people out. Mm-hmm. And that's a frustrating thing in Canada, because we're never sitting there making a decision on the ballot based on the fact that we actually want that person to lead. We're making a decision on that ballot to get rid of the jackass that's there right now. And that's been a common theme for me in my life for years. When they said that to me, I was like, you know what? That's true. I have actually, every voting decision I've made, I was trying to get rid of somebody, or I was protesting the whole process and voting Green Party to be a dick, right? Like,
anyway,
what's that?
Voting Green Party to be a dick. That's funny, because you could probably only say that in Saskatchewan or Alberta, right? We're voting Green.
They're never going to win. Yeah, he's from Alberta. Yeah, it works. I guess I looked at, coming back to the video a little bit. That's the takeaway that everybody has right now, right? The takeaway is, oh my God, we hate the prime minister so much because he's completely fucking ineffective and he's weak and he's useless. We would like to elect somebody else. And the only somebody else traditionally that has been viable is from the other major party, right? In this case, you went from Andrew Scheer, who just fucking could not stop talking about how much he didn't like gay marriage, to...
It's true, though.
Well, it is.
It's true.
And no, that's what he was accused of doing, but I don't think he was doing that. But
yes, he was. And when he'd answer it, he was. And you know what? You can't have a fucking leader that believes that. You can't. You can't have a successful party where your leader or anybody in the party goes, I don't think I want gay people getting married. You can't. That is my biggest problem with the Conservative Party. On top of the doofuses they keep trying to tell us that they're the next generation of leadership. Like every single thing Erin O'Toole puts out is hilarious. It's a joke. It's like it's a meme. He's a fucking human meme machine. Like that's that video that he put out, or that the Conservatives put out, even if it was leaked, and who cares? I mean, that's who he is when the lights are off, right? That's who that guy is, and so that's what you're going to get. You will get the very worst of that person, and the very worst of a conservative in this situation. And I stay away from conservative, NDP, liberal bullshit. I can't stand it. I hate the camps. I hate the parties. I hate the policies and what it means to be, involved in each one of these parties. But the reason why we keep getting stuck with these doorknobs is because nobody takes character into the voting booth with them. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. I don't see anybody. And this last election was the very first time I voted for somebody that wasn't part of that probably wasn't going to win. But I researched Jane Philpott and what she stood for. She was in my riding, so I voted for her. She was an independent because she got booted because she's a female and Trudeau's a dick. But I voted for her anyway because that's where I was. That's what I wanted to do.
Who's the finance minister? James. He just got ousted. O'Toole just.
Yeah,
he's a guy with the glasses.
Oh no,
really
you're
smart.
the finance critic,
Rod
Critic.
Phillips.
Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah. Why isn't he? Has he taken a run at the leadership, conservative leadership?
He floated a trial balloon sort of thing last time the leadership was upcoming, and there was like a few days where it was like, yeah, he's going to run, and then he said that that his family talked him out of it, and that's what he said. Who knows what the real?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You know why? Because honest to God, if someone came up to me and said, we want to make you the leader of the next Conservative Party and it'll pay you $500,000 a year and you get a pension of $200,000 a year, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Think I want to be known as a conservative? Like, do you really think
I'm going to run for Wexit in Alberta?
But that's how much I fucking hate, and everybody should hate politics, is that word has been weaponized and they are so embarrassing as a group because of stuff like that. If someone's like, hey, I'm conservative, even if it was one of my best friends and he said, I'm running as a conservative, I'd be like, well, I'm not voting for you then. And I'm not voting for you for a number of reasons, and I will figure those out as I get there. But it starts with the fact that the guy who's in charge of the party is a national embarrassment. He's Mr. Potato Head in a tight suit. That's
it's funny because if people just joined the show, some of them might think you're talking about Trudeau, right?
No, talk about Erin O'Toole.
No, I know, but like a Mr. Potato Head, he's an empty suit. He's kind of stupid, like it all applies to Trudeau as well. I think what you're saying, what you're demonstrating though, is that because there's another side that, and there are moderate conservatives that vote conservative, even though the Conservative Party doesn't seem very moderate anymore. But there's people on that side that will never vote liberal because they're the liberals and because Justin Trudeau's the leader, and they have just as much of a legit point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I have any time a politician is dumb enough to come on our show, I start the interview with, do you realize your biggest problem? And they're always taken aback by it. Your biggest problem is that everybody hates you.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what the party is. The biggest problem in politics right now isn't whether or not that guy's a conservative or a liberal or what his policies are. Everybody hates politicians.
Big time.
And that's your biggest problem. It doesn't matter what party you run for, what decisions you make, you're hated. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest issue that we have right now in Canada, the United States, and around the world.
Yep.
I think political parties are really the poison, right? If you've ever gone to like a political party's convention,
it's like a cult awakening. If you've been,
have an open bar,
it is so weird. It's like we have to do it for the party. Like it's all like that kind of talk, and they put party before country all the time, right? That's what they do. Like every party does.
Speaking of potato heads, I have some news, gentlemen. There is no more Mr. Potato Head. It's straight up the potato heads now. Gender neutral. No word of a lie. Hasbro. The company
Hasbro's going to change their name, and now they have to change their name now too.
Hasbro.
Hasbro. That's a little gender specific.
Hasbro. Hasbro.
Please send that tweet, James.
Says
send that tweet.
They're giving the Spud a gender neutral new name, just Potato Head. The change will appear on boxes this year. Many toy makers have been updating their classic brands to be more gender neutral. The editor-in-chief at a toy review site says, whatever, man, it's a fucking potato. Put whatever you want on it. Barbie, he says, for example, has shed the blonde image, now comes in multiple skin tones, and it was time for Mr. Potato Head to just be Potato Head because they've been tired and sick and tired of writing back to people going, okay, it can be anything you want. You can put lipstick and a mustache on the potato if you like. I don't have a problem with this. It's funny because I don't know that I've ever had a problem with the genderification of a toy. Like it doesn't bother me because I've played with Mr. Potato Heads my whole life, and if someone put one in front of me now, I'd fucking dig into that Mr. Potato Head, and I get that dick dressed up big time. True story. But I've been dressing up Mr. Potato Head as freaky as possible for the last 48 years of my life.
Is there like an X-rated version?
Do you know how many times I tried to have a female with a mustache and a male with a dress and a daisy in its head get after it when I was younger? I assaulted them. I was like, get into it. I got to figure this out. But it was never about the gender. I never wanted to make, potato head families or potato people. It was just like, for me, it was like plug and play. Fuck, you can put Mr. Potato Head's leg in his arm, right?
Yeah.
Amputees get upset.
So you're not an ableist, right?
What does that mean?
You don't want to be an ableist when you're paying. Ableism. So you don't want to give Mr. Potato Head 2 arms and 2 legs because that's, prejudicial against people who are disabled. This is stupid. Awesome. This whole thing is stupid. There was a Mr. Potato Head and a Mrs. Potato Head. If they wanted to put out a 3rd Potato Head and just call it Potato Head and then let people do whatever they want with it, that's fine. But why would you erase Mr. and Mrs.? I don't understand why you're erasing 2 genders.
Publicity.
Is a good thing. No, I know. It's a corporate virtue signal, and it's the worst
for PR. Yeah, it's for corporate PR. And
I just thought of a great idea, too. Saturday night, get a bunch of potato heads. Everybody takes acid, and you just leave them in the living room.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Full night.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
I've never done acid, but I would do it if there was
a bunch of potato heads.
Yeah.
Just a box of potato heads.
Him and her potato heads.
Yeah, here we go.
Him and her potato heads. But yeah.
If you're on acid and you find a potato in a dull can opener, you're just as happy. So
I've never done acid. Is it as do you have to be around people that do acid? Like, do you have to be around people you trust, or are you alone? Is it a drug that you take when you want to go to sleep, or is it a drug you take when you want to look around outside? Like, give me the acid trip, James. Take me on an acid trip.
Does anyone else want to offer an opinion?
I've already told my acid story. I did acid once at Lollapalooza, and I still can't listen to Ministry. So,
see, acid does have good things that happen. Right?
Ministry scares me when I'm sober.
You definitely don't take acid.
Raging anxiety when it's on. Like, me too. I can't handle it.
You don't take acid when you want to go to sleep. However, when we were in high school, we used to take acid when we were sleepy so that we'd wake up in full-blown trip. It was amazing. It depends who you are.
It sounds like a fucking experiment.
Some people, some people can't be alone when they're on acid. I prefer it, I think. Some people intellectualize, some people meditate. I don't know. It just depends who you are.
Which psychedelic have you enjoyed the most, James?
I would say acid.
Okay.
He says it's so creepy too.
What is acid? Like, I'm sorry, I
don't know how to say the name, but I don't know.
It's not psilocybin or whatever the hell that is. There's
psilocybin.
I don't know. I don't know the chemical compound, and I can't speak to that at all. I just hope that it's good when I take it, and usually it is.
Yeah, because
how much acid do you have to take to feel good?
Well, it depends. So, about 2 years ago, a person that I know in New York City, she twice a year goes and hangs out with these Stanford professors for a weekend, and they just trip their asses off for the weekend. And one of
Educated
the
people just get together to trip balls.
yeah, these are like tenured professors in philosophy, in nuclear physics, and all this stuff. And the guy that makes the acid is the chemical engineer guy who's the professor there. And so he makes it, and they go and they trip. And so she sent me that in the mail, and she sent me 3 waters. And when I got it, my wife I told you the story before. My wife and kids just went away like 2 hours before that. They were going to be gone for 3 days, and I looked in the mailbox and it was there. And as soon as I went in, I cut it in half. So I took a blotter and a half and I put it under my tongue, and I'm all like, woo. And then I go online, I see her online, and she messages me. She's like, did it come yet? I'm like, funny you should ask. She's like, okay, just make sure. Promise me you won't take more than a half hit. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, I just took 1.5, and she's like, oh shit. It was crazy. It was like I had never done acid before. And
yeah, what happened? Take us through the experience. Take me through.
Well, the hallucinations were crazy because this has never happened. I didn't even know how to explain it from a scientific point of view, but I would flick my countertop and I could see sparks fly. So I was just walking around like flicking things and watching sparks fly, which is crazy because then I sat there for what seemed like hours trying to come up with a way to articulate the way the brain measures work equals force times distance as you flick, and what it takes to hallucinate that. And I was like, I got to shake this off. I'm going to waste my whole trip on this. And it was like 10 minutes.
I actually have a story. I did acid once when I was like 21. That was Lollapalooza in 1990, 91, 92. I can't remember the year now. But I also was car sick when I was a kid. And so my mother always had Gravol on hand in the car. And I used to whine, and they'd give me Gravol or whatever, right? So I remember at one point, I have a very vivid memory of this. We were on a road trip, and I was whining. I was getting car sick. I was in the back of the car, and my mom threw back a pack of Gravol, and I ate the whole pack. And they figured it out, I guess, whatever, 30 minutes in, and then freaked out.
Like, what is it about radio or media people where someone gives you something and you take it all?
So anyway, I end up in the hospital, and when I was a kid, I had a little briefcase thing that I had kept coloring books and Archie books and stuff in. And that's I remember standing in the hallway, and I was just standing there, and I would put the suitcase down, and it would multiply and go all the way down the hall, and then it would just so I just stood there putting the briefcase down until they pumped my stomach or did whatever the hell they did to me. But I must have been 6 or 7. Yeah. And I fucking remember that. I remember standing in the hallway. You were
6? Whose acid were you dropping at 6?
Gravol. It was a whole package of Gravol.
Okay, never mind. I was still on now. Still on your acid.
So it wasn't acid at all. That's the funniest. You segue from an LSD story to I took Gravol when I was.
Hold it.
I took the whole box.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but that's not dude. That's not LSD.
Your only Jim Belushi moment came when you were in grade 1.
Dude, you know what that's like? It's like if Chris was to go, I remember this one time I drank so much water. And I peed a lot.
All right. I thought it was a funny story.
Dude dropped like 6. 4 times the recommend. I was
That's good for you.
It was in
you must
Golden,
have really been car sick.
Golden, BC.
Speaking of made that trip several times through Revelstoke. What a shitty trip that is.
Yeah.
Speaking of feeling sick, you guys talked about this on the show this morning, and I saw this on Twitter, and I wanted to bring it to your attention because it bothers me. And it's not like it bothers me that this exists. It bothers me that someone didn't tell me there is a secret menu at Arby's. Meat Mountain. This is Meat Mountain.
Yeah.
Did you go have this today? Because you were tweeting that you were going to go to Arby's and have this. This is a secret menu item, gentlemen. Meat Mountain, it's called. If you go there and go, give me the Meat Mountain, this is what you'll get.
So we found out about this week when a texter listening to the show. I don't even know what we were talking about. Texted in and said Meat Mountain, and we were like, "What is that?" So we looked it up, and sure enough, we started talking about it on the air. And some guy calls up. He goes, "They do make it, but you have to go to a specific Arby's." So then I called all the Arby's in Edmonton yesterday. Found out that there's one. There's 6 of them. Called them all, and I found one that's doing it. So we announced the location today.
Sort of fucked. That you called every Arby's in Edmonton just to find this one sandwich.
It's fucked that there's 6 Arby's in a city the size of Edmonton. What? Like,
yeah.
Okay,
there's over a million people here. There should be 10.
I know, but at this point, if Arby's isn't like laundering money for the cartels, then I don't understand why they're still open.
How they make money? Yeah,
dude,
like I gotta tell you.
Dude, they're like the Nickelback of restaurants because nobody fucking likes them, but somehow they're still around. Somehow they're still there.
Back.
I've never I have never been to Arby's.
What?
Dude, honestly,
is
never
wrong
in my
with you
life.
idiots?
I would never go to Arby's because their sandwiches look like labia reconstruction.
No, look at
that Meat Mountain.
Oh my God.
This makes me want to puke.
I am going to go have that tomorrow.
Never been. Anyway, so you
Chris,
didn't try it. My point is you didn't try. He's not even in the same country as you.
He is coming. He's going to fly in. He's buying a cheap flight on WestJet, and he's coming into Edmonton to have the Meat Mountain with the locker room. I'm all over this. It looks awesome. We phoned them and asked them if we could. I left a message because they didn't pick up. It was 9:00 in the morning. We were wondering if we could drink in the parking lot.
What'd they say? Oh, they didn't answer.
Turning it into a tailgater.
Just to have a meat sandwich. You know what? I get it. If it wasn't Arby's, I'd be there. Let me read you the ingredients.
Good. I'm glad you have it.
Yeah. Okay. So just so you know, the Arby's Meat Mountain sandwich has. Are you ready for this? 2 chicken strips. 2 ounces of cooked ham slices. 1 ounce of Swiss cheese. It has 2 ounces of beef cured corned beef brisket cooked, all 3. 1.5 ounces of choice beef corned beef brisket. It's got choice Angus steaks, 2 ounces of choice Angus steak. Now we're getting to the extra cheese. Cheddar cheese slice, 1 ounce. Turkey breast, meat only, roasted, 1.5 ounces. Bacon, yes, there's 2 slices of deep fried bacon on that sumbitch. And Arby's classic roast beef sandwich only sets you back 3,500 grams of sugar and 1,300 calories. That's it. Fat.
I'm going to be destroying that tomorrow.
Grams of sugar.
Yeah.
3,500 grams of sugar.
Can I bring something up for a guy who does
milligrams? Am I talking milligrams?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably milligrams.
James, how can somebody who does as many drugs as you do not be into Arby's? It doesn't make any sense.
The question was
answered by the question. You should be wearing an Arby's hat.
No, you have it all wrong. See, what happens is that, especially on shrooms, like everything becomes really enhanced. So all that would happen is that my contempt for Arby's would only grow if I were to eat it while I was on shrooms or something.
Yeah, because it makes you an a more aggressive version of the original person, right? So
I don't even think I'm allowed as an Italian to like a sandwich that even looks like that or smells like that. You can smell Arby. Like there must be no escaping the Arby's odor in Edmonton with 6 of them. Like, are they?
And they're conveniently located around the city. It's almost like they've taken up the perimeter.
I'm telling you, they're a fucking front for drug cartels. There's no way this restaurant should still be open after all these years. Like,
I don't know anybody that I got to tell you, I don't know other than you, Locke, anybody that's eaten there. Rookie, have you had this sandwich? Have you been to Arby's before?
I've never seen an Arby's before.
Like there's no he's got the East Coast covered. He's got the east side of the city covered.
You know, that's a lie. I saw one Arby's in Kingston at the truck stop off the 401.
You guys are not looking.
That's no.
Were there a lot of Mexicans unloading trucks in the back of this Arby's that you were in? I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
I will let you guys know next week on the pod that how the meat mountain.
It might be good. Listen, I just can't stand the sight of it.
Locke, like serious question, Locke.
I would eat the double down from KFC before I would eat that, Chris. You're 100% right. Yep.
Lachlan, what year was your first Nickelback concert? have an answer for that?
I started
not expecting
going
an
to Nickelback shows when I don't mind Nickelback. Nickelback's they're a rock act, right? I mean, I understand the hatred because it became cool to pile on them, but and then everybody just jumped on board, and you're clearly a hipster with a Harlem shirt on. The thing is,
you dope ass rapping hipster.
they were a great rock band. They write catchy rock songs. They have a formula like every other fucking band on the radio.
Listen to how emotional you're getting.
AC/DC, fucking Def Leppard, Shania Twain. They all, guess what? They have a goddamn formula. We hate Nickelback because it became cool to hate them. They're a great rock show. They are. They blow shit up.
I do admit they are hated for a lot more than they probably deserve it. I just don't like their music. I just think they're like Metallica, but without any testicles whatsoever. That's what I look at.
Yeah, a list came out the other day of the most hated rock bands of all time. Nickelback's on it, but there are some fucking surprising ones on it too.
Which one surprised you?
Linkin Park at 21.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Spin Doctors doesn't surprise me. Nirvana at 19.
There's a lot of hate for Nirvana.
Where was
Rush,
Guns
I
N'
totally
Roses
understand.
on that list?
I can't stand Rush, and I know one of the guys in the band.
Oh, you and
great
I
guy.
will get along. You and I will
I
get along.
don't get Rush. Never understood Rush. I still don't get it. But I love people that do get it because they're fucking hardcore. Pearl Jam at 17. Oasis at 16.
I love Pearl Jam.
Korn at 15.
I hate
Metallica
Korn.
at 14. The Doors 13. Green Day at
Yeah.
12. Coldplay at 11. That's not even a fucking rock band. Dave Matthews at 10. Kiss at 9. Kiss.
Guns N'
Kiss
Roses
is
has
higher.
to be in that 10, in the top 10 somewhere. Because people hated Axl Rose. They hated them.
Radiohead at 8.
What?
There.
How do you hate Radiohead?
They're trying too hard.
That doesn't make any sense.
Fish. The band Fish.
I fucking
PH.
hate Fish.
That's because
I
all the deadheads
fucking
are voting.
hate Fish too. Bob Dylan somehow made the list at 6. Fucking,
He's hated.
I don't know. I love Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I love Bob Dylan because at least he wanted to sound like he couldn't sing. Leonard Cohen, God rest his soul. Leonard Cohen thought he could sing, and no one would tell him he couldn't. So we have 40 years of him trying to sing, which is a tough
I
one.
still have nightmares of my mother putting on fucking Leonard Cohen albums when I was a kid.
Like
Do you guys want to go through the top 5?
Sure.
Yeah.
Top 5 worst bands of all time, as decided by some fucking internet portal. Mumford and Sons, number 5. I fucking love Mumford. Yeah,
I love Mumford and Sons.
Chris, you're a music head. I'm shocked. I'm not listening. I'm not hearing from you. You're not.
That's the only argument I have so far.
Mumford.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't like Bob Dylan?
It's hard on the ears. I got the
Did I
poetry
mention Dave
behind it.
Matthews Band came in at number 10? Did I mention that?
Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band is like somebody being vegan. They tell you that they love Dave Matthews and then that they're vegan.
Yeah, all the time. Maybe
one
one of
of
the
Go hand in hand.
The only thing I love that song "Satellite" that they do. I think that's a great tune, and I also loved the fact that when they went over the Chicago Bridge, they dumped 400 liters of raw sewage onto a tour boat underneath, and it covered everybody in Dave Matthews shit. I thought that was fun.
I get Mumford and Sons.
Yeah,
Unless
5.
like
I don't get that one.
Well,
Number 4, U2.
Oh yeah.
Number 3, Creed.
No, they should be number 1. Jesus
I
Christ.
love Creed.
That
Really?
music video in the water? Come on.
He's the Michael Bolton of rock. How do you not like Scott Stapp?
Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
I'll
Sounds like
show you
everything.
His name's Scott Stapp.
Yeah,
Scott
right?
Stapp's the lead singer, yeah. And a gong show, too.
I think
Yeah.
U2 though is more people hating Bono. And
Yeah,
not
Bono's
U2 as
a
an entity.
Righteous
You know?
dick.
U2's U2's like a house band now. That's how I look at it. It's like I could care less anymore.
When they put all their music on our phones without asking, that's when I check.
That's when you-
that's
Hey, everybody
was
got
so
the
mad
new
about
U2
that.
album.
My
Anyway,
wife, we plug our phones in and like Bluetooth, and sometimes hers will override in the car, and the fucking U2 record comes on. It's like, what do you take it off?
like right away. Yeah.
Yeah,
But Joshua Tree was good. I like Joshua.
that was a great record. Yeah. If Bono wasn't such a douchebag, I think that band, if he would have just been quiet, and he hits a city and demands to talk to the leader of the country. It's like,
well, he's trying to help out like with AIDS and stuff. So
He
I give
doesn't
him
pay his
that.
taxes. He doesn't pay his taxes.
No one in Ireland pays taxes. It's not just him. Nobody in fucking Ireland pays taxes. Any guesses at the top two, gentlemen?
Well, you
Guns
said
N' Roses is
Nickelback.
one of them. Oh,
No.
Nickelback is one of them?
Guns N' Roses is not one of them.
Puddle of Mud.
Are they on the list at all?
Chris. Oh yeah, Chris, give me your top two. Worst favorite. Who do you think we got here?
Simon and Garfunkel.
No.
Okay. Oh, I know. Hold on. Queen?
No.
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 You only get two guesses. You only get two guesses.
All right, I'm done then. Yeah. Aren't I done?
Lock. Top two worst bands of all time.
Or most hated, though. Is
Most
what?
hated.
Not worst. Yeah.
Oh no, it's worst. It's worst as voted by the fans of Loserville.
Bee Gees.
No, I fucking love the Bee Gees. Are you kidding me? Don't shit on the Bee Gees.
I'm not shit. I'm just trying to. This list is stupid. Radiohead's on it, so I don't
It's
really
not
understand
stupid.
it anymore. Yeah, it is.
It's not stupid. It's what the
How do
people
you
say.
hate Radiohead?
Lock.
I've never heard anyone
I
go, I
hate
really hate
Radiohead.
Radiohead. They
I
play
hate
bad.
Radiohead. They got like
Well, then,
two good
A
songs.
lot of people hate Radiohead.
Yeah.
it's so weird.
I can't think of, and it's going to be one of those when you say it, I'm going to be like, oh shit! It's not the Stones, is it?
I have a guess.
No. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Limp
Talk to me.
Bizkit.
Oh yeah, that's number two.
Oh, nice
I missed it.
work.
Limp Bizkit.
Oh,
A
yeah.
strong
I
pull.
know y'all be serving live this right here.
And Papa Roach at number one.
No.
DJ Khaled.
No.
Not rock.
I love that guy.
Hey,
I
the
love
Rock and
that
Roll
guy.
Hall of Fame has rappers. You might as well.
Fellas,
put them on the list.
gentlemen, gives me great displeasure to announce Nickelback is on the list of the worst rock bands in the history of rock band.
Yeah,
Wow.
that makes sense.
Number one. And I absolutely like fucking not listen to any of their music, but when it comes on, I never turn it off.
No.
You know, one of
It's
those
catchy.
songs?
Yeah. it's-
Yes. I don't own any of their music. I don't have
The problem is
anything
that when I
against them.
listen to them, I get confused. I feel like for like the first minute and a half of the song, I'm like, is this Avril Lavigne? And then the rest of the song happens, and I'm like, it is
I think-
Avril Lavigne.
I think what ended up happening was because we go through these cycles in music, right? So you had the hair thing in the 80s and everybody was getting sick of that. And
Right.
then you had the grunge thing in the early 90s, and then they all started dying. And then they had this post-grunge scene, right?
Mhm.
And it was mildly interrupted in the late 90s by the rap rock shit, the Kid Rock and the Limp Bizkits and the Corns and all that. But that post-grunge shit, the Collective Souls and the Seven Mary Threes and the
like Seven
Nickelbacks
Mary
and the
Three.
Creeds, love Seven Mary Three. All of that post-grunge stuff dominated rock radio for years and years and years and years, and it carried itself into the 2000s, and then it made its way 2007, 2000, and it still wasn't dying. And I think those younger generations that were seeking a sound of their own, and it wasn't coming, just ended up because everybody was supposed to have that rock time when they were teenagers.
Mhm.
And so now they've just completely abandoned all forms of rock. Post grunge kind of killed it, and now rap is the biggest thing. Like, if you meet anybody under the age of 23, they all think they're like in white suburban. This is the whitest. I live in St. Albert, Alberta, the whitest neighborhood in the damn country, and I hear rap rock blasting out of these lowered with lights underneath the Subaru fucking cars with 21-year-old kids in them all the time.
Dumb.
It's just like they don't even know. They wouldn't even be able to name a rock band or
You know
a
what
rock
else happened?
song.
Why do you hold it against them, dude? That's my kids. My kids want nothing to do with rock and roll, like zero to do with rock. It's all Kendrick and Pop Smoke and fucking this and the DJ Lil Melly
Supposed to have a
YY.
rock
You
time
just
in
have
your
to
life.
educate them on the rap gods.
Well, first of all, but
That's
the
true.
young people don't like the term rock and roll because it sounds old, and people that love hip hop hate the word rap because it just sounds old. But something else that happened in that era that you're talking about, Lachlan, was electronic music, which didn't exist for most, until like the mid '90s. People started really listening to it, and then it kind of took over. Like who was it?
Is that what made you start doing hard drugs?
Yeah. Yeah, it was the rave. It was the rave scene. It was totally the rave scene. I was like the guy in school that like I drank last. I smoked weed and I did psychedelics and stuff, but like I didn't do any hard drugs at all when I was in high school. Like I didn't even see cocaine for the first time until I was in college. And it was like, but the rave scene was like, you know, it was like a weird cultural experience where, you know, drugs and music and people like, you know, cavorting were all mixed together, and it was a good time and it was awesome. You know, I was introduced to electronic music even in my early 20s. I didn't even listen to it at all when I was a teenager. And that sucked a lot of young people like into that direction where it probably watered down
away from rock.
Away from rock, even away from hip hop and stuff. But there was some intersection with hip hop and electronic music because, you know, a lot of acts played together. Eminem used to play at raves all the time when we were young, when it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. He used to go to raves constantly. And just, you know, his big thing was that he used to say that he used to drop ecstasy and it would make him feel like he could like squish another 1,000 syllables into his bars. And it actually, it's weird. It's a weird enhancement tool. Speed and ecstasy and things like that make me rhyme like I have like another mouth. Like it's weird. You just sort of ride your own emceeing at that point.
Why do I want to see that?
Because it's probably fucking dope.
Like to watch you spit mad rhymes high off your ass on PCP or something.
I believe the term is spit
pay-per-view, baby. I smell a pay-per-view. We'll get Nickelback to open. It'll be awesome.
We got a couple more things to get to before we go. One of the things is Mike Babcock. Now, listen, we're all hockey fans here. Rookie, did you see Mike Babcock's latest interview or read anything about his latest interview? Because I think a lot of people, he's making his return to hockey. He's going to be coaching the University of Saskatchewan men's hockey team. He's going to volunteer for 2 years while the Leafs pay him $5.65 million a year because he's smart. But a lot of people are pissed off at Mike Babcock still. And I wanted to read you a couple of things because Mike Babcock left the city of Toronto in a blaze of glory and allegations of abuse. And he was summarily hated from the second he packed up his truck to the time he left because he abused his players, verbally and mentally abused his players. Johan Franzen still hasn't come back from PTSD that he said he suffered at the hands of Mike Babcock. He hasn't been in the league in 8 years. Brendan Shanahan has talked about it. Chris Chelios has talked about it. And so I paid attention.
Is it Mike Commodore that always shits on him too?
Mike Commodore fucking
Commodore
hates the guy.
Yeah, just like he'll send out tweets. Merry Christmas, everybody. Fuck you, Mike Babcock. Like,
and he was right the whole time, right? And the funny part was, and I don't feel bad telling the story, but I worked with Millard. Millard worked here for a long time, and he wouldn't talk about those subjects because hockey was like that much of a sacred holy ground. Like you don't talk about what goes on in the room. You don't talk about coaches because they might not give you an interview. But it was great watching people not give a fuck about it. During his first interview with a show called The Rod Peterson Show. Have you guys heard about the Rod Peterson Show? Anybody?
Nope.
Local Saskatchewan show?
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I guess so. I have no idea.
Only assume.
He was asked about if
it's like a double entendre, isn't it? Rod
I guess so.
Peterson.
Rod Peterson. He was asked about whether or not he learned anything, and I wanted to read you a couple of quotes, and I want to get your thoughts. He said, you know when you're reaching out and you're trying to get things back, this is his reply to, hey, did you do anything to make it better? My oldest girl would always say to me, Dad, it's not what you say, it's your tone. We've all made mistakes in our life. You have to own everything you've done wrong. I think that's really important, but I also think your intention is so important. Babcock went on to say, quote, this is the part that bothers me. You can't have the wife I have and the kids I have and the family I have without being a good human being. I don't have any problem at all with that whatsoever.
It's such bullshit.
I always said to people when I went to Toronto, I got half my salary in coaching the team and half my salary for getting whacked. Okay. Thoughts?
Okay,
and then we'll continue. Yes, please.
Using your
I loved how hard Lachlan laughed at those statements. You can't have the wife, kids, life, job I've had and still be an asshole.
I'm an asshole and I got a beautiful wife.
You totally can. And he used them as human shields. Really. Yeah. Like that's what he did. And, you know, Stalin, Hitler, they had wife and kids, you know, like it means absolutely nothing if you have a nice wife and a nice kid. It means nothing. And I'm not saying Babcock Hitler. I don't think Hitler could coach, you know.
Oh,
what is that?
No, keep going. I'm enjoying it.
I'm just saying, like I can't think of anything cheaper than being on TV and being like, what's a good way to like ingratiate myself towards the people that hate me? Oh, I know. My wife and kids are nice. How could that possibly mean that I'm not nice? Like, fuck off.
One of the things that I laughed about too, he's like, where he goes, when you're reaching out and you're trying to get things back, and then the example he cites is, my oldest girl would always say to me, the farthest you reached out was down the hall to your daughter. You didn't reach out to the guy, Johan Franzen, who is still crippled by what you did to him. You just like, hey, honey, tell me, am I a dick? Or Dad's like, that's all in your tone, Dad. All right, thanks very much. Like that's it.
Turns out I'm a great guy. I'm a great guy. Woo.
Was he the only one that did the whole mean coach thing? No, I mean that was a thing.
Bill Peters got caught with it in Calgary a couple years ago, if you remember.
Mike Keenan was bad. Like
it's been a problem for years, and players are such menches that they never fucking say anything.
Torts still is a dick, isn't he?
The only thing that feels weird is they followed in the footsteps of like celebrities that complain about directors and producers, and that felt a little weird. It was like, if you want to say
I just
something,
think it was like
fine.
The floodgates for people who'd been abused by him finally going, fuck that guy.
But the abuse wasn't physical or sexual, so for me, I'm just like, ugh.
Are you serious right now?
Well, kind of.
Abuse has to be physical or sexual to count?
No, but no, listen, I think it's fair to say that if you're 13 years old, you don't want a coach like Mike Babcock being emotionally and mentally abusive. If you're an NHL player, you still don't want it. But I don't know, to give interviews and to like bitch and complain about it when there was nothing really done to you physically, it just feels...
Dude, Johan Franzen, I want you to Google him. Google him and read the story about... Like the dude is in like witness protection or something. He's working with other PTSD survivors and he's not alone. There are like 10 other guys that won't fucking speak up because they don't want to be involved. There's two other comments I want to read to you before we move on from Babcock. He said, quote, when I got fired in Toronto, we went all in on the entertainment, meaning, oh yeah, make fun of Babcock, right? Oh yeah, look at me. Then he says, quote, after a while, you get tired of hearing some of the things. I think it's important you say your piece. None of us are perfect. We're all trying to get better. After a while, so he hasn't lent any credence to the fact that these guys are legitimately upset for legitimate reasons, and he did anything wrong. Then it goes, but no one's perfect, right? That is the fucking greatest sentence you could utter at the end of doing anything. Like I'm sure OJ said it after he cut off a couple of heads that one day. Guys, no one's perfect. Right? Cut me a little slack.
You know who's perfect? The real killers.
Yeah, that's true. Good job. He then goes on to say, I'm not a big media guy following what's going on. You know if you're getting whacked or not.
Yeah,
I don't like it when he says that because I just automatically go to masturbation.
I just go to Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
Immediately. Yeah.
You know if you're getting whacked or not. Then he goes on to say, you also know in today's world, the way it is, even people that really value you, it's hard for them to step up because they're going to get whacked, saying no one stood up for me because they were afraid. I know who I am. I know what I've done. Some of this doesn't pass the smell test at all, Babcock said, during a family ski trip to Aspen, Colorado.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's the most pretentious thing I've ever heard in my life. We were in Whistler and we were sipping on champagne and eating caviar. When they said, Dad, you're down to earth. And I said, righto I am. Yes.
I think in sports, there was always that mentality that that to get the best out of players, and it wasn't just hockey, it was football had these guys, that there had to be some level of, and even players admit it, right? Like we were laughing about our coaches when we were kids, right? Like I had a coach the first day, we were all sitting in the dressing room and he goes, all right, everybody, we're going to learn to fight. And I'm like, I'm 10. Like, are we going to need this?
I'm glad that's where you went with it, Locke. I'm glad. Glad he was like, all right, guys, who wants to see it?
And then we proceeded to beat the shit out of each other in the dressing room with our helmets on before we even got on the ice, right? There was always that element of of sports. And so I think the culture was created. Babcock was a result of it. And then it became something that you're not allowed to do anymore. Right?
Well, he's a McGill alumni, right? Because McGill, remember when McGill, I know this person actually, Darcy McEwen. He's the son of Bob McEwen from the Fifth Estate. And he was that football player, if you remember this, like, I think it was like 15 years ago, where the McGill football team hazed him and with a broom handle. And he was the first person to just be like, fuck this. And I think it happened. And then he left. He called his dad, and then he called the police, I think, or he called the university or something. Like, he was right away. He was like, no way. This is fucking
Did he
ridiculous.
just get spanked with it, or did that thing make its way in the backside?
It made its way in, and then their football program got suspended for 2 years, I think, after that.
St. Mike's did the
Did
same
they
thing.
use lube?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because if
They're
they
not
lube,
courteous.
if someone spit on it,
At least
is it
spit
really
on
a
it, right?
problem?
Yeah.
If you're getting initiated, they tend not to care about your feelings or lube
Yeah.
anything up.
Yeah, the prep work doesn't go in like it should.
Well, they gave him a choice. They were like, you can either get raped with a broom handle or eat an Arby sandwich. And he's like, oh.
Broom handle.
Listen, you and Arby's, we need to. I don't know. It bothers me that you've never had Arby's. Really?
Do you know who has had Arby's as we wrap this show up? Do you know who has had Arby's, gentlemen? Locke likes this already. I'll tell you who has had Arby's. This guy.
Oh. I'm telling you, that looks like Darren in like
Is that
30
you,
years.
Coach?
No, his name's Mark Shack. Yeah. He was an assistant for special education students at Shady Grove Middle School.
And a camp counselor in Scouts.
Close enough. In Bethesda, Maryland. He was just picked up and has been put on leave because he masturbated during a Zoom call with his entire 8th grade class.
Fuck. What was the first hint that he might not be the best teacher? 304 and the peephole?
Mark Shack said, quote, I thought I was logged out when class was over. I had no clue that Zoom was still on. Why would I do that? It's my job, he said. I have no clue that Zoom was on. I mean, that's just crazy behavior. He goes on to say, I mean, who does that? You did, dude. In a 13-second clip posted to social media that I will not post, and I do have, and I'm dying to play, but I won't.
Why?
Shows Shaq gaze at his, because he's masturbating, gazes at his screen before standing up, taking a few steps away, and then he begins to pleasure himself immediately following the class. His name appeared on the screen as the host of the Zoom call. Seconds later, another name appeared, replacing him as moderator. That's when a 21-year-old employee who was watching the thing goes like, we got a problem here. Teach is whacking it. The man also runs something called Pirate Magic. He throws pirate parties for youngsters.
Come on.
Little red flag. This is, I took a screenshot. This is the screenshot of him immediately after class was done.
Look how angry he is. Look at him.
This was 4 seconds after class was dismissed. He's already given it a pull.
So wait, he's got his back turned and he's giving
yeah,
it a
and
pull?
he's got his back
he
turned in front of the
looking at?
computer, and he's mad. I don't know, maybe a box. Oh, that makes sense.
Nice box. It's a Portuguese box. Look how big it is.
But the best part is he's viciously masturbating, and you can see his name right here. It's like Mark Shack is masturbating furiously right now.
He's got a lower third.
He does. I got a question, only because listen, now he's maintaining he did nothing wrong. It was an accident. It was just incidental masturbation that was caught after a call. He should have hung up and turned his camera around, or whatever people do when they say they get caught masturbating on Zoom, which surprisingly happens a lot.
Did? I know exactly what happened. When you hit leave, you don't leave. You have to hit it twice.
Yeah,
that's what happened. All these guys that don't know how to use it are just hitting leave once, not knowing. Are you sure you want to leave or whatever the fuck it says?
A teacher on Zoom would know how to get out of Zoom.
Oh, teachers don't know how to use Zoom, dude. Trust me, I have 2 kids that the teachers use it and they don't know what they're doing. There's always technical difficulties all the time.
So versus technology.
So he stands up and he starts giving her 4 seconds after class, which means one thing to me.
That he's turned on by the children in the class?
Yes, and that's a fucking problem. Like,
That's
if you're a teacher and you have to masturbate 4 seconds after class, someone needs to check that dude's browser.
Yeah, they probably will, though.
No, I don't think
They are now. They are now.
Do you think that's probable cause, really? I don't know, because I can totally see someone doing it on accident. Whether or not we want to pierce out his brain and figure out what his motivation was to do it.
I'm making all of my decisions based on the fact that he looks like a pedophile.
Yeah, me too. Look at this guy. How do you not listen? This is damning. This is damning, like super damning, because you're watching him do it. He just looks like a pedophile.
Is that you, Coach?
That means Randy Hilliard looks like a pedophile. Look at him.
He looks
exactly like Randy
he's
Hilliard.
Sweaty.
He's
sweaty. He's single. He's got terrible fucking hair, and he does a little light magic on the side. Dude, guy's just guilty as fuck.
Probably
all I'm doing
Arby's.
is just He goes here for a bite to eat from time to time. There's a problem.
Listen, you guys and your shit talking Arby's is too much.
No, it's not enough.
Yeah, I guess just a little PSA to end the show, right? Like,
shut your camera off.
Or maybe just don't even masturbate anywhere in and around your computer.
Let me write that down.
Screen mirror the laptop to the TV.
Oh, guys, can you turn around for a second?
Honey, we're out of Jergens.
Yeah.
Honey,
if we were
pass
at
the remote.
Jergens, my whole sex life would crumble to the ground immediately. Yes, I am married. Thank you for asking.
Dude, I already told you, not for long. You got lots of great things to look forward
but
to.
do you hold
true.
pirate parties on the weekend for 5-year-olds?
Hey, little known fact, the only reason Dean ever invites me over to his house is because I don't have any hair.
That's true. I prefer being around people with less hair. It's fact.
Beards don't.
Hold on? Can I ask you a
beards.
serious question about that?
Yeah.
So you see your psychiatrist once or twice a month?
Therapist.
Okay. All right. Therapist.
Frank.
I don't use it. I had a psychiatrist for like 2 years.
Didn't
Now
work.
I'm just on the it was awesome. Yeah, it was huge help. Yep.
I've never been. Imagine that.
We know.
Do you bring up the hair thing with them?
Yeah.
Like how bothered you are by hair?
Oh yeah. I've often thought of like live streaming my therapy session for real.
I was going to ask you about that, about the person that offered me a free therapy session from that stepmom show.
Yeah.
I was like, let's do it. Let's do it and let's build it. I'll do it. I don't care.
I think because I catch myself, I'll be in therapy, just to put a nice little button hook on the end of the program. I'll be in therapy and I'll catch myself saying something and looking at the therapist like this to see what their reaction is. So is that bad or how's that? How am I doing? How am I doing? Okay. Is that like what? Tell me about this whole thing I have with like I like women. I want to be around them. I enjoy sex. I just don't want anyone touching me after. Is that bad?
And I'm like this. Them sitting at my spot at the table.
Yeah, it's true. I like sitting at the head of the table more than anything in the world. It's the most fucked up thing in the world. And to the point where I would say to a significant other, "You're going to have to get out of that chair." And
I've learned a long.
Serious right now? I'm like, yeah, I need because I've got a thing. This is another thing I bring up in therapy. I have a thing where I can't sit down at a table unless I can see the entire room. The entire room.
Too.
I'm fucked in the head. I go into a restaurant and someone's like, "Here's your chair, sir." I'm like, "No, it isn't. That's not my chair. You need to put me in a chair where I can see everybody because I want to see the trouble coming." I feel like, it's the same reason why I sleep with my feet towards the bed in my bedroom. Because I'm like, listen, I want to see what's happening, what's coming in, what's coming at me. Like I need to figure that stuff out. So I bring that stuff up. And then why I hate holding hands with girls or anyone for that matter. And the hair one was a big one because like it's
a week or two.
Dude, this has been going on for fucking years. I've dealt with my parents' stuff. Love my dad. We're great. Love my family. And now I'm just working on why when I look at hair in a drain in a bathtub covered in soap scum and jizz, do I retch? And she's like, or he now, he's like, I don't know, man.
There's not enough jizz to cover up the hair. That's why. I don't even know what that means. But you know, the one thing, the restaurant thing is a mafia thing. Like even in Goodfellas, the Ray Liotta talks about how he's like, yeah, he had to get the table right near the window so he could see everybody coming in and coming out. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's a mafia thing, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm weird working on it. Don't mind sharing those stories with people because it's just me.
Yeah.
Because it's a major problem. Like the anti-relationship thing that I'm on, it's a major problem. I still love women. Want nothing to do with one being around me all the time.
Maybe you just need to find a woman who feels the same way about you.
Yeah.
They don't want you to be around all the time.
She'd be so fucking awesome.
You got to be out of the door before your cum hits her ass.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I'd be good. James, we're live.
I know.
And we have been for an hour and 26 minutes. I kept it late. All right. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Chris Rook, our head of production, Chris Rook at Rookie with a whole bunch of O's and I's. If you have any questions, info@deanblundell.com. He is the king and the reason why that we sound and look the way we do. So I appreciate you. Great to have you on the podcast, too.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
At James D. Fiore, blackballmedia.ca. Go and check him out. He is a terrific writer. He's a great mind, and he's a free thinker, and he's my friend. And I really appreciate you being here today. Thanks, buddy.
You were going to play his rap tune today.
Don't have it. I don't have it queued up. We'll have to save it for Tuesday. He's also a dope-ass rapper.
It's true. For some reason, but it's true. Yeah.
Like, really fucking good at rapping.
That song that you posted on our DM there today was really good. I listened to that.
That was from 12 years ago. It was Christmas Day Eve, 2008. And I was drunk as fuck. And it was totally
You're legit, man. I mean, I'm the second whitest guy in Canada next to Dean. But
Dean looks like old Drew Carey and new Drew Carey had a baby.
That's your best one.
I like that one. That's cool. Thanks to Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM morning guy. The Locker Room. Give it a listen in Edmonton. You can stream online at cruisefm.ca. Is that correct? 95.7 cruisefm.ca. What's the website? Does it matter? Do you want to kid?
Yeah, no, that sounded close.
All right. Yeah, his morning show's terrific. It's one of the best in Canada.
Thank you, Dean.
You're very welcome. And the great part is, and Edmonton does unbelievable radio. Like if you,
there's a lot of talent in this town.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like if you ask me where the next great radio talent is going to be born, I would say that's not going to happen because radio's dead. But if you said who's the best morning show in Canada, and I believe this, I really do, it's Lachlan and Grant and Jimmy.
There's lots of talent across this country, but there's an overwhelming a collection of very fine broadcasters. And I'm not just saying that. There is a overwhelming collection of good broadcasters in Edmonton for some reason.
You guys are like the new Winnipeg.
Yeah, well, you know what, and a lot of the guys, that's true, man.
Winnipeg was dirty.
There's a lot of great talent that came out of Winnipeg over the years, and a lot of the guys in this town actually had a stint in Winnipeg as well. Right?
It's weird. I wasn't joking, but it totally sounds like a joke.
No, it is. It's a thing.
Is that a move from Winnipeg to Edmonton? Is that like a huge radio move? No, I only went from Windsor to Toronto, so I don't know.
It's lateral.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Winnipeg to Edmonton is fairly lateral, right? Just based, I mean, Edmonton's a little bit bigger, but you're probably going to make the same amount of money. You know, yeah.
Million people though, dude, and like packed with signals. You cannot get a radio signal in Edmonton. There are more radio signals per capita in Edmonton than there are here by a ton.
Yeah, the CRTC fucked up. They put too many sticks in the ground here.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So if you need a good morning show and you're in and around the Edmonton area, it's the Locker Room with my friend Lachlan Cross. Thanks for doing this, guys. Really appreciate it. Great to see you both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. You bet. You
James, Rookie.
Hey, look, are you sure you want to leave? I pressed leave. I'm telling you. I'm going to start jerking off.
I did that myself. Thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks for paying attention and being part of the show. You can find us at deanblundell.com where you can sign up for our newsletter there. Big ups to our friends over at Blue Microphones. The deanblundell.com podcast network, now 30 strong, is powered by Blue. Become part of the Blue crew by going to @Blue Microphones on Twitter. Go and find them online. Have a look through their inventory. I think I've got a mic arm boom coming. I do. I think I got one coming with like a really sexy mic. I don't even think I need one, but I want one. It's weird like that when I get all gadgety. I love gadgets. These are the best gadgets you can get for podcasting and broadcasting, so do it. The way that we work now, you're stupid if you don't. Go to Blue Microphones. Have a look at their headphones. Have a look at their mics, USB mics, XLR mics. They got a little pocket mics. They got boom mics. They got everything. It's the way to go. Our friends at Blue Microphones. Thank you. Thanks to Ed at Ed's Fine Imports as well. His Gitch right now, you can get 4 for the price of 3 when you use promo code GITCH3. They're unbelievable underwear. They have boxer briefs. They got the pouch in the front. You cannot miss. That's what the pouch is. It's what they look like. I don't want to take them out of the box. Just trust me. I wear them every day. The best underwear you'll have. Oh, they got a picture of me on the back where I was like modeling some of the things, and I look great. Like really good. Come in a bunch of sizes too, from extra small to extra large. I'm a large. They're resistant to shrinkage. They got a fly hole in the front, super soft fabric. They got that pouch too, which is even like softer, and that's where your guys go. That's where you put them all in there. So go to edsfineimports.com, order. He'll send them to you. Gitch from edsfineimports.com. In domination, dmntn.com. Adam Callan, I just talked to him yesterday. He's going to be on the show tomorrow to talk to us about how to produce content. You know, we can talk about entertainment and stuff, but why not talk about this? This is entertaining, right? How to produce content. 90 pieces of content, 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Super easy. You can do 30 video clips. You can do 30 audio clips, 30 test files, and try it for free now. Dominate with content. Go to dmntn.com. Go to deanblundell.com for all your news and information. Thanks to everybody for paying attention and listening. Have a wonderful day. We will talk to you soon. Bye.